Right. Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS live session. Students, in this session we are going to understand the antitrust complaint filed against Google by an Indian startup, right? So in this article, other than understanding what exactly is the issue or why the Indian startup has raised a complaint, we are going to also understand about the Competition Commission of India and the concept of self-preferencing. And this topic is important from the GS2 perspective or GS2 point of view, that is the transparency, right? So why do we understand this topic? Because a previous question or a such type of question can be asked in the UPSC examination as it was asked in the year 2016. Now this is a question on the quasi judicial body, right? Explain with the help of concrete example. That's the reason we need to understand this particular topic. Now what is the context? The context is that a startup in the name, the Alliance of Digital India Foundation, an Indian startup has filed a complaint before the Competition Commission of India against Google. The Indian startup accused Google of practicing anti-competitive practices. Anti-competitive practices in the online advertisement or market. Right? So this is the context. Now let us try to understand in brief about the Competition Commission of India, right? This Competition Commission of India or CCI was established in 2003. It became fully operational in 2009. What is the purpose of CCI? To enforce the Competition Act of 2002. Which means, in short, in simple words, the purpose of CCI is to promote and sustain competition. For any economy to grow, the presence of competition is very, very important. So for the economy to grow, there has to be competition in the market. Only when there's competition in the market, the consumers will have many options. This will actually suit the consumer's interest, and that's the reason having competition is very, very, very important. And CCI ensures that the competition in the market sustains and it promotes competition. It also protects the consumer interest and ensures freedom of trade in the markets of India. So the purpose is for the competition to sustain. The headquarter is located in New Delhi. This is about the Competition Commission of India. Now, the startup has accused Google of self-preferencing its services over similar offerings by other companies or by other startups. This restricts market access for competitors. Now, what exactly is this self-preferencing system or method? Now, self-preferencing refers to a practice where company like, let's say, Google or Amazon, they prioritize their products or services. Over those of competitors within the ecosystem or platform. For example, in simple words, let me explain you what is self-preferencing. You go to Amazon, right? For example, you want to buy a t-shirt, right? So when you in the search bar, when you type t-shirt, the first product that appears is the product of the company or brand Amazon. Which means what Amazon is trying to do is, Amazon is trying to advertise their product on their platform. So here the competitors, the other competitors are at loss. Why? Because their products are not getting advertised or they are not appearing in the first page of Google or Amazon search bar. So this is what the big companies do, that is they prioritize their product or services over the competitors. This is known as self-prioritizing mechanism. I hope you understood this concept of self-preferencing. Now let us also try to understand different dimensions with this particular topic. One is, if I talk about Google, or why the Indian startup. It's not the Indian startup. There are many countries or many companies across the world who have accused Google. Now, if I talk about the search engine market share, the Google search engine that we use, 92% share is that of Google. Then there are other competitors such as Bing and Yahoo. These are other search engines and their combined share is only 8%. The majority share is occupied by a giant company in the name Google. Online advertisement. Now here the Google's advertisement arm, Google Ads, right? They cap their share or their market share is of a huge volume. So what they try to do is they try to inflate the advertisement, right? And that's the reason these small advertisers simply cannot compete with Google. Why? Because here Google, what it does is it artificially inflates the advertisement cost. This actually is to the disadvantage of small advertisers. Then talking about the mobile operating system, for example, everyone uses or majority of the people they use Android. So around 72% of the smartphones have Android as their operating system. Web browsing, Google Chrome. 60% of people in the world they are using Google Chrome web browsing. Then talking about email and productivity tools, email, Gmail, like majority of the people use Gmail in the workplaces, right? Now, so through this, it is quite understandable that how Google is dominating in the digital space or digital ecosystem. Now, because of Google's dominance in the world or digital economy, the other competitors are getting affected. For example, because of the dominance of Google, no new player can enter the market. So here see, there are barriers to entry. At the same time, more services or the more people use these services of Google, the more value of Google inflates or goes up. This is known as network system. Then self-preferencing practices, we just discussed what is self-preferencing practices, right? Now, because of the dominance of Google, it impacts the innovation or it deters the innovation. Why? Because of the dominance of Google, no new player will enter the market, which means there will be no innovation in the technology sector, which means there will be no diversity in technology. And this will actually curb the innovation. And if the innovation gets curbed, then Google will dominate more and more, which is not in the interest of the common people. Consumer impact. The most important is it impacts the consumer choice. Now, as of now, we have no option but to use Google. Why? Because compared to others, Google is offering more services. But if the competition is even, if the competition is fair, then more new players will enter the market and they might give us more services than what Google is giving us. For example, Google has taken over YouTube, right? If there's other platform, then people can also access other platforms and that platform might give the consumers better deal than what Google is giving. So the world or the innovation thrives because of competition. And if you are curbing competition, there will be no innovation. And if there will be no innovation, people will suffer. And that's the reason it is very important for the innovation to sustain. And for that, the regulation or the regulatory mechanism should be such so as to allow the other players to enter the market as well. Now, for example, Google has lost a case in European Union. Why? Because there are many companies in the European Union who had accused Google of practicing anti-competition or they were indulged into anti-competitive practicing or let's say advertising. Then Amazon, what Amazon does is the same, self-preferencing. They use the data from third-party sellers to develop competing products giving its products an unfair advantage. Like when you search anything on Amazon, the first product that appears is the product made by Amazon or Apple. Now, what Apple is doing is they are trying to integrate services like Apple Music and Apple Maps into the iOS ecosystem. So, the other competitors like let's say Spotify or Google Maps get affected. So, the main point that we are trying to focus on is that the competition should be fair, which means there should be a scope space for new entrants to enter the market. Now, inspired by the European regulation, now in order to curb big companies like Google from practicing or getting involved in anti-competitive practice, European Union has formalized or has drafted a law. Inspired by the European Union law, India is drafting a new digital competition law. Now, this law will prevent tech giants like Amazon, Facebook and Amazon from self-preferencing, which means once this law will fructify or will come into effect, the major tech companies will have to make significant changes on their platform, right? And that's the reason it is very important for the country or for the regulatory body of any country to ensure, for example, in India's case, we have the Competition Commission of India. So, it is very important for CCI to ensure that the competition is or there is competition in the market. The presence of competition is very must in any country. And so, to ensure the competition is fair, the CCI has to intervene, should prevent big companies like Google and Amazon from self-preferencing, so that more and more people will enter the market, there will be more competition, people will benefit, and this is how the innovation will thrive, and so the country would thrive. I hope students you understood this article. So students, if you want us to continue with our live session, then please do like, share and subscribe to Narayana IAS. Thank you so much.